Hey guys, today I'm gonna be going over how to replace some suspension parts on a 02 Sequoia. I did my inspection the other day on this thing and ordered some parts. I did replace the wheel already, but just a used one that we had. But now you're going over replacing lower control arms, corresponding parts with that, and then a knuckle for this, and showing how to press the hub and bearing into the knuckle and assemble all that onto the vehicle. So stay tuned, I'll show you how to do all this. Alright, first we're going to remove the wheel on this side, wheel on that side, and the skid plate to gain access to lower control arms and the rest of the suspension parts. To get the wheel off, we'll remove the axle cap to get the axle nut, remove the caliper and the 217s, brake line, hang the brake line, so you got your lower shock bolt. We'll undo the tie rod end, undo the sway bar link, and then we can undo the lower control arm by getting this bolt out, this one. After getting the brake caliper undone, we need to disconnect the 10 here for your wheel speed sensor, and then undo the harness here, and then further up here on the knuckle to relieve that. Sometimes you have to spray this with some rust penetrant and work it back and forth. Be gentle so you don't break it, but sometimes they can be a bear to get out of there, so just take your time. Okay, now you want to remove the cotter pin, axle nut, sway bar nut, tie rod nut, and these pullers, tie rod end pullers help to get the tie rod end off. So do that. Well, this came out a lot easier than they normally do. Normally they're a bear to come out, but that one just fell out of there. Probably because it being in a wreck, it made it loose. But now that the tie rod's out, the tie rod and the sway bar link is out. Now you want to take the lower ball joint nut out, and then the shock bolt. Now that all this is free, we're going to remove this upper nut here, and then the whole knuckle should come out. Leave your nut partially on, so when you're tapping on this to press it, it doesn't fall all the way to the ground. It will be caught by this nut. Now that we got the knuckle removed on this driver's side, we can move on to the passenger side so we can remove both lower control arms. Alright, so if you can see, we got this loose. You see how that bungee's back like that? That means that this eccentric is seized in this bushing. So we're gonna have to cut this out to get this. So we're partially gonna have to remove the power steering rack to get these bolts by on both sides. So I'll remove this bolt, the bolt right here, and the nuts. Alright, now with the bolts out of the eccentrics bushings, how they're seized in here, you're going to have to get a sawzall to try to cut right here between the washer and the frame rail on that side, and then over on this side right here. You're going to try to cut this piece off so it'll slide out. And you have to do that to all the ones that are seized. Alright, got one side out. Now, As you can see, we were cutting just that edge of that eccentric off on both sides. And you're going right next to the frame through here on all four. Alright, now we got both sides out, finally. Now, do a little cleanup on the floor before I get back to work on it. Alright guys, so I got the floor cleaned up, so I'm going to have to press this apart to get the backing plate out of there. But I don't know if you guys noticed, I was struggling getting the bolt out for the power steering rack, so I was looking at that. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, that from the collision that bolt has been bent, so I'm gonna have to order a new bolt, so this project's gonna be on hold till the morning. Alright, so when you go to press this apart, you'll need a press plate with a C in it, because you're going to want to put the plate right on these bolts right here. Something like that. And then you'll push down right here on the center of the hub. Alright, so we got the hub pressed out. It came out with the inner race. So here you have, this is a keeper for your tone ring. Alright, that was kind of stuck in there by rust, but there's your tone ring. So with it pressed apart now, we can get our backing plate off.